For our PSA regarding atonement, we chose to focus on the topic of innocence. To bring in an uplifting perspective, we decided to focus on Innocence Project.
Innocence Project is an organization that works to free the people in our criminal justice system who have been incarcerated despite their innocence. The group also works to remedy and reform the system that allows for unjust imprisonment. It was founded by Peter Newfield and Barry Scheck in 1992 at the Cardozo School of Law.
Now we will give an example of a real person who is exonerated because of Innocence Project. We specifically looked for someone that had a similar case to Robbie's to demonstrate that the help that Robbie could have received had someone cared enough about him. In May of 2003, a woman in Gilbert, Arizona was raped and initially claimed that she could not make an identification of the perpetrator because she had not gotten a good look at him, aside from the fact that he was wearing a white t-shirt. When John Kenneth Watkins was placed in a photo lineup, he was the only one wearing a white t-shirt, and the victim ended up identifying him as the one who raped her, even though Watkins had an alibi for the time of the crime. After lengthy questioning from police, Watkins confessed, opting to take a lighter plea deal. Finally, after almost 7 years in prison for a crime he did not commit, his attorneys got permission to test the rape kit, and the results showed that Watkins was not the rapist, and he was released.
Although Watkins had to spend an unreasonable amount of time in prison, his name was eventually cleared, and Robbie, from Atonement, never had that privilege. Like Watkins, Robbie served over 5 years in prison, although Robbie was released to go fight in World War II. Robbie was also charged with sexual assault because of eyewitness misidentification and false confessions or admissions. What makes Innocent Project so important is the fact that it was able to help someone like Robbie, and it surely would have changed the plot of the novel had Robbie been allowed to access to the scientific advancements and continued advocacy that Watkins experienced.
Innocence Project relates to Atonement because the majority of the story follows an innocent character whose life was characterized by a false accusation. Robbie was innocent, but one lie by an ill-intentioned 13-year-old cost him his love and ultimately his life. Not only would Robbie have been free from the anguish and shame of the conviction, Bryony too might have had a greater ability to get rid of her guilt.
Innocence Project would have been able to discredit Bryony's accusation, and advanced science would prove that Robbie was not Lola's attacker. But since this was not available to Robbie, he suffered. This quote from page 215 seems to sum it up. He had done nothing wrong. Not every child sends a man to prison with a lie. Not every child is so purposeful and malign, so consistent over time, never wavering, never doubted.
The main takeaway from our research regarding Innocence Project was that though Robbie didn't get to clear his name, lots of innocent people have been able to do so because of the commendable work of Innocence Project.
Thank you for watching and listening. Here's our works cited.